Shalom. Well, we begin tonight with Havdalah. And you might think of this as making a real hevdel, a real difference between not just this sort of moment of Shabbat where we go and we take this, everything that is kadosh, everything that is holy, and we would see ourselves as jumping into a week of, maybe the same old, but it's not. Because this week is the last week of 5782. And whatever stress and strains it might have brought on your life, or maybe whatever joy and success, we bid it adieu. So this is really a moment of going from this moment of Kedusha and holiness, holding on to what we need, and then also saying, God, I can't receive the next year. Forget the next week. I can't receive the next year. I really can't receive the next day unless I get straight with you, Holy One, unless I get straight with my neighbors, unless I make some sort of tikkun, some sort of repair with the people in my life that matter the most. And so we really open ourselves up. The book of life seems very daunting. I want to get there. You want to get there. We want to get there, but we know that first we have to open this book. We got to be an open book to everyone in our lives, and that is hard stuff, and I'm going to ask my friend Ruth to get us a little wine for our cup so we can successfully put out the flame we're going to light in a minute. We don't need it to get any hotter than it already is, dear friends. No, we don't. So very grateful that you're here tonight. So happy to see you. And really putting everything in perspective, a year gone. What did we do? What did we seek to do? What do we wish we could have done? And most importantly, who are we? So let's sing with Rabbi Klein, and we'll follow along with our beautiful slides put together by our staff, by Jody Baumgartner, as we go into Havdalah.
Baruch atah Adonai
Gladness reign and joy increase.
Shavua Tov.
Shavua Tov. Tekiah. Shavarim. Teruah. We're going to save the big one for the end. You know, it's a little bit like the Afikomen, right? Keep them awake till the very end of the Seder. Keep the kids alert. We're so happy that you're here tonight, everyone. And I just want to say what a bracha gedola it is, what a great blessing it is to have our extraordinary choir. These people work so hard, and beyond anything, you deserve air conditioning. But we're just going to send you a cool breeze from our seats, okay? And we want to thank you. Tom Gall, did you tell me that it was almost 50 years? 50 years this year. I think that is called clapping in shul. That's what you do now. Just amazing, and we love you so much, and you know that you're an official MOT as far as we're concerned, a member of the tribe. And we just can't believe how lucky we are to have you and your incredible talent. Tonight's program has been deftly and lovingly created by our own cantor Moses, who cannot be with us tonight because she's a little under the weather, but we considered it good timing because Cantor Moses, you know where you gotta be in about a week, and that's right here with us because we can't have these chagim without you. Refuah Shlema. And she has appropriately asked for our forgiveness, and that makes sense that we would give it to her on Slichot. We gather tonight to sink deeper into the theme of the month of Elul, being a time of introspection and reflection on the ways that we have missed the mark with others, with ourselves, and with the Holy One over the past year. When you're part of the Jewish people, you necessarily put yourself in the position of confronting those darker sides of yourself. Our arrogance, our ignorance, our tendency to judge others unfairly, our horrible habit of not giving others the benefit of the doubt. The list goes on, and I am as big a culprit as anyone. Rabbi Danya Ruttenberg, in her recent book called On Repentance and Repair, Making Amends in an Unapologetic World, describes why the work of Slichot is so essential. And this is a little bit long, but I think she hits every single one of the categories that we could possibly be thinking of. I might amend it a little bit. She starts by saying this: we all cause harm sometimes. Maybe it's intentional, a result of a calculated attempt to gain power, or from a place of anger or spite. Maybe it's out of carelessness or ignorance, a reaction to fear, or because we are overwhelmed and drop some balls. Maybe it's because we were acting out of our own broken places or trauma, or because, in our attempt to protect some interests, we ran roughshod over others. Maybe it's because our smaller role in a larger system puts us in the position of perpetrating hurt or injustice. Maybe it's for one of a myriad of other reasons or a combination. We have all, she says, been harmed. We all nurse stories about the tender places where we have been bumped, cut, battered by others, by people, institutions, or systems. Sometimes maybe we have managed to heal completely. Sometimes a scar is left behind. Other places still ache now and again. Some injuries may hinder us from being able to do things that we once could, or even cause immeasurable or even irreparable damage to ourselves, our families, our communities, or our heritage. We are also all bystanders to harm. We read about it in the news, debate it on social media, decide when to speak up about it at work or to a family member, and witness social structures that do not deliver on ideals of equity, respect, and justice. And we occupy all of these rules on a small scale, all of these roles on a small scale, in personal relationships, for example, and on larger ones as members of society, as stakeholders and institutions, as citizens or inhabitants of nations. So it's critical for all of us to think about the work of repentance, accountability, and transformation. With that, she ends, and with this, I just want to add one thing. Tonight, we officially enter the season of awe with the Slichot service, bringing us face to face with that dark side of every one of us. The human predilection to avoid rather than confront that lesser self is understood by our tradition. This, then, is our moment. Now, in the camaraderie of our community, we can step up and bravely articulate our misgivings and shortcomings. Now is the time to claim our deeds and utter our slichot, words of penance and regret enfolded in the desire to change and do teshuvah. Tonight we break up our program into 3 parts, this being something that was very beautifully put together, and it comes from a Kabbalistic tradition, but this first level is called slicha, forgiving. This is the level of forgiveness. We think we understand what that means, and yet, if you've ever intentionally or unintentionally hurt someone else's feelings and watched their face fall, or their eyes well up with tears, or noticed they've ghosted you, they haven't returned your calls, if that sounds familiar, slicha is where we begin. Find a way, this level instructs, to get in front of that person you've injured and with hat in hand, acknowledge your fault, express your regret, promise that you will change. Tall order. Of which the hardest part may just be reconnecting with whomever we've harmed. If you feel your kishkas tying into knots whenever that person's name is mentioned, or whenever they flit across your mind, it's time for slicha. Even if you're not certain that you actually did hurt the person, better to risk awkwardness than ignore this elephant in the room. I am sorry for what I did. Repeat this in your head after me. I'm sorry for what I did. I sincerely regret having done it, and I will never do it again. Strong words which can be music to their ears. It says, I'm not perfect. You and I both know that. But I take responsibility for how I made you feel and the trouble I've caused you and maybe others. If you can find it in your heart to forgive me, I promise I will strive to change and demonstrate that I have changed in a consistent and constructive way. So the question is, have you offered a sincere apology?
We come now to the second level of mechila, which is often translated as wiping away, which is a response to the request that we see on the screen. Can we put our relationship back on the level before I wronged you? Now, a positive response to this question would be difficult, but it's incumbent upon us, and it's also within reach of every human being striving to live in the image of the divine. We see that in our liturgy, the Unatana Tokef prayer, as Rabbi writes some 50 years ago, challenges us to wrestle with our relationships, reflecting on impermanence and death, with deeds and consequences, with power and powerlessness, with fear and reassurance, with mistakes and second chances. So too, the Avinu Malkeinu prayer is a testament to mechila, to wiping away our transgressions, and a commitment to embody God's qualities of compassion, generosity, and justice. We begin Uvechein. Uvechein ulcha ta'alei kedusha. And so let these words of sanctity ascend to you, for you are our God and sovereign. Unatana tokef kedushat hayom. Let us proclaim the power of this day, a day whose holiness awakens deepest awe and inspires highest praise for your dominion. For your throne is a throne of love. Your reign is a reign of truth. In truth, you are judge and plaintiff, counselor and witness. You inscribe and seal. You record and recount. You remember all that we have forgotten. And when you open the book of memories, it speaks for itself. For every human hand leaves its mark, an imprint like no other. So we ask us ourselves, when was the last time that you gave permission to yourself and to a loved one to begin again in a relationship? And how did you find compassion, generosity, and justice, these values from Avinu Malkeinu, in repairing that relationship? We'll think about this as we listen to this next piece. Unatana Tokef.
Unatana tokef kedushat hayom. Ki hu nora va'ayom. Uvo tinaseh. ומאליו יקרא. ומאליו יקרא.
We invite you all to please rise now as we open the ark.
What's that? Are we good? Please be seated. The third level of our slichot ascent is kapara. When the key does not when the key does, rather, turn inside of our hearts and mentally we embrace our chet, our sin, we complete this trifecta of slichot with kapara, saying, Holy One, I get it now. I finally understand. When I hurt any of your creations, I hurt you. When I speak maliciously against any of my fellow humans, I diminish your divinity. So now I must ask your forgiveness as well. As if it wasn't hard enough to confront that other earthly being in teshuvah, now I beg at the Holy One's feet for some semblance of mercy. I cannot live as part of God's glorious creation in freedom and dignity when I have had a part in the degradation of any human soul. As the Talmud intones, Ben Azai Omer, Ben Azai, quoting Rabbi Akiva, says, love your fellow as yourself. This is the greatest principle of Torah. You should not say, because I have been dishonored, let my fellow human being dishonored along with me. Rather, Rabbi Tanchuma explained, if you do so, know whom you are dishonoring. God made the human being in honor, to honor the image of God, the likeness of God. And if we dare to go there, to approach God with the same or even more sincerity with which we approached others, Yom HaKippurim, Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, will truly give us a tabla rasa, a clean slate, a whole new lease on life, lived with fear and awe, taught to us these Yamim Noraim. As we listen now to Psalm 23, that same psalm which is sung, probably known best at funerals. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the deepest darkness, I shall fear no evil. We also sing it at the end of Shabbat as our hearts break a little bit. Our hearts break that Shabbat is gone and the rest of the week lays in front of us, but we have to approach this particular time with exactly that, a broken heart. Psalm 23 is the ultimate prayer that helps us surrender fully to the will of God and be comforted by God's presence. With thy rod and thy staff you comfort me, and I will have no fear, because God is with me.
Please join me now in the English reading of Psalm 23. With God as my shepherd, I shall not want. The Eternal makes me lie down in green pastures, leads me beside the still waters, restores my soul, guides me in straight paths for the sake of God's name. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Eternal forever.
Tkiya Gedola. Please rise. Shkoach.
To wish each and every one of you at this very moment in our calendar, Kitiva v'chatima tova, may each be written and sealed in the book of life. But for now, Shavua Tov.
Shavua Tov and Shana Tova, everyone. If you have any questions about anything with regard to the holidays, go ask Ruth. We love you, Ruth and Zach. Thank you very much for taking care of us today. Shana Tova, everyone. We can't wait to see you in a week. Thank you so much for coming.